How's it going today, guys? It's Diamondos, and today we're going to do some Strixhaven Standard. And I'm going to be a Spike today and play what's arguably the best deck in the format. I'm going to go over it card by card just in case you're new to the game and you're not sure how this deck functions. We're going to be doing best of 3 traditional matches. That's the best way for me to play because it matches and mirrors the actual tournament play. So I did have a dream back in the day to do the Pro Tour, and this is the format that this would be replicating here. So right out of the gate, this is a Yorion Sky Nomad deck. This card is from Ikoria. The Companions. When the Companions first released, it was a shit show. It's basically acted like an 8th card in your hand, but now you have to pay 3 mana to get it into your hand, so they nerfed it a little bit. It has to be into your sideboard, and there's a restriction. Your starting deck contains at least 20 cards more than the minimum deck size, so that does decrease the consistency of the deck, but it also is very good against the mill decks because there's way too many cards in your deck for them to really mill you out. So it has that upside too. And besides that, I'll go over card by card. Jwari's Disruption. This is a nice counterspell to have in your hand, and you can play it as a land if it's not going to come up where this is going to be effective. Omen of the Sea is a really good way to filter through your deck, and you can also bounce it with the Yorion. By the way, when it enters the battlefield, this card here, you exile any number of cards, any number of other non-land permanents you own and control, and return those cards to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So this is one of the cards that you can bounce with Yorion and draw more cards and filter right through your deck. 2 copies of Eliminate just to have some spot removal for the cheap creatures in the format. Same thing with Heartless Act, and this can kill some bigger creatures too. 1 copy of Valki, God of Lies. This is going to be one of our targets for the Ultimatum. And I suppose I should talk about this card because it's really built around, this deck is built around this card. So this is a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana sorcery, and you search your library for up to 3 monocolored cards with different names and exile them, and an opponent chooses one of those cards and you shuffle that card into your library, and you may cast the other cards without paying their mana cost, and then you exile this. So the idea is you get 3 really game-altering cards where it doesn't really matter what your opponent chooses. The 2 cards that get played are going to take over and win the game. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to choose like Alrund's Epiphany, maybe Vorinclex, Valki, God of Lies, or Tybalt is the side you're going to be casting, and also things like Elder Gargaroth. But that's the idea of the deck. Let's continue at the beginning here. Valki is one of our targets for the Ultimatum, but we can play it as a 2-drop. It's just a nice value creature, and the Planeswalker side is just a very powerful Planeswalker. You can exile target artifact or creature, you can get really good card advantage off of it. We're running 4 copies of Wolfwillow Haven to ramp into our Ultimatum. 2 copies of Mystical Dispute for some counter magic, and against blue decks it's very powerful. We can side this out if we're against not a blue deck. 1 copy of Elspeth's Nightmare as a good catch-all. It hits small creatures and also hits cards in their hand. It's pretty good against any matchup. Pelakka Predation. This is another one of those cards where it's a land and also a hand disruption tool. So just a really solid card to have a 1 of. Cultivate is our main way to ramp into our Ultimatum. 2 copies of Extinction Event so we can clear the board and stay alive while we reach the Ultimatum. 1 copy of the Seeka's Chariot is just a really nice value creature for the mid game to clog up the board, and it can also win the game sometimes. 3 copies of Binding the Old Gods. It's a really nice removal spell for anything, and it also helps us ramp into our Ultimatum. Perfect for this deck. 2 copies of Pelucranos Unchained. Very, very solid mid game creature. Recursive threat to help close out the game. A new card from Strixhaven that we have is Eureka Moment. Really good mid-game card draw and also ramp, so perfect for the deck. 2 copies of Shadow's Verdict, another very, very good board wipe to keep us alive. 2 copies of Elder Gargaroth, Very, very powerful mid-game threat. Card advantage tool also. New card from Strixhaven's Professor Onyx. Super, super versatile planeswalker to help us just win the game and get some more card advantage. Vorinclex, late game threat to close out the game. It's going to be a target for our ultimatum. 2 Alrund's Epiphany as a target for ultimatum, and we can also just foretell it early in the game too. Just to take an extra turn spell, very, very powerful. 1 copy of Seagate Restoration, solid late game card draw. We can play it as a land if we need to. And the namesake card, the ultimatums, we already talked about. We also have a new card from Strixhaven in Jadzi, Oracle of Arcavios. I gotta read over this card again. Discard a card and return this card to its hand, so it has some decent protection. And then Magecraft, so whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, we can reveal the top card of our library, and if it's a non-land card, we can cast it by paying 1, rather than paying its mana cost. So hitting Ultimatum off of this would be ridiculous. And if it's a land card, it's going to ramp us, but by that time, we don't really need the ramp. The other side is you may put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield, and if you control 8 or more lands, you may discard a card, and if you do, return this to its owner's hand. So that could be a decent ramp piece if the cards and the stars line up in the correct fashion. In our land base, we got 2 island, 2 swamps, 2 forests, a bunch of dual lands, some new lands from Strixhaven, some scry lands. This land here helps us cast our Valki. The Tybalt side if it's in our hand. Fabled Passage so we can land fix. The World Tree. We can also cast Valki off of the World Tree if need be. And is this a god? Technically we can get Valki from it, but it wouldn't be that good. The other ability is pretty irrelevant. Yeah. Besides that, the sideboard here, we got some Cling to Dust against graveyard decks, Duress against control, Maze Mind Tome against control, Tested Talents against maybe other ultimatum decks or decks that are really relying on a specific spell, or instant or sorcery rather. Eliminate against aggro decks and maybe some mid-range decks that have creatures. Same thing with the Elspeth's Nightmare here. And same thing with Shadow's Verdict, so really good anti-aggro tools. So let's go ahead and jump right into some ranked games and showcase the deck. Okay, our first victim of the ultimatum deck, his name is Neuron. So this hand is excellent. We have all the colors that we need, and we have turn 2 Wolf Willowhaven and a Cultivate on turn 3, which is just really, really powerful. We're gonna keep that, no doubt. This is like the ideal starting hand for this deck, and a Binding. Doesn't get much better. So our opponent's just on blue, and he foretold he's not running a companion. We're gonna Wolf Willowhaven, ramp us up. He's gonna main phase draw, that's fine. So we have 4 mana now, but the play is absolutely still to cultivate, so we're gonna do that. Blue-white, so blue-white control most likely, yes. We should be able to go way bigger than him. I imagine he's running like Dream Trawler. I'm really not too sure what blue-white control plays these days. I haven't played that deck, or played against it in a while. We could ramp again, but I'm actually going to take a look at his hand with the Predation. He's tapped out, so we can't counter it. So we can try to rip a really good card out of his hand right now. Alright, he's got the Kosiyama. I don't know how to pronounce that. God of the Voyage. And it's a fairy. I'm going to take the God of the Voyage. Actually, it might be right to take the fairy. We'll be able to get this with Binding the Old God pretty free, or the Shadow's Verdict, so I'm going to take the fairy. And we can still cultivate again. Down. Double, triple ramp, like, there's really not much you can do. We're going to be really far ahead of him. We're already up to 7 mana total, which is ridiculous. He's just gonna keep drawing, which is fine. So he's got some Skyclave Apparitions, which is a lot better against like aggro mid-range decks and some Beamscar. I'm just gonna keep ramping and hit this with the Binding of the Old Gods. This will help us ramp next turn. And then let's send Yorion to our hand. We'll be able to bounce this and get another trigger, which is extremely powerful. I imagine he's going to Skyclave this. Hello. Good sir. I don't know if he's griefing or if he disconnected or what. Very strange. We got the nice mid-game threat here. Oh man, our opponent's not here. Well, this is a terrible first game to show, but it is what it is. Look at that fucking kitty. It's a nice kitty right there. Let's get the red mana, just in case we draw our Tibalt. I mean, I feel kind of bad, he's just not doing anything. I'm gonna bounce this just to get value from it while I can. I don't want to play this quite yet because he does have the Doomscar. If he comes back, he's just gonna wipe the board. I'd rather draw some cards and ramp some more. That's how powerful this deck is. It makes people AFK. Like, he's got 5 mana, I've got 9, access to 10 mana. I have double his mana right now. Well, hopefully next match we can get an actual interactive game. Alright, we take 3 wins in ranked. We take 3 wins in ranked. All day. Okay, let's hop right into another game. That was not a good showcase of the deck at all. I mean, I suppose it showed how quickly it can ramp out. That was a really good ramp hand. Dude's name is Keith. If we win this game, we'll go to Platinum Tier 2, which is excellent. Diamond dose, almost diamond. Does this opponent not hear either? This is awful. Welp. There we go. This hand's awful. We have 1 land. Mulligan. This hand's also pretty bad, but we're on the draw. I'm not going to go down to 5. I'll keep this. Put back 1 of the Shadow's Verdict. He is here. Okay, sweet. Serrated Scorpion, so against Mono Black or Rakdos, no. It's pretty terrifying. Hopefully we can draw an untapped land next turn and we can Wolf Willow Haven. Start ramping out. We're going to want to hit this Shadow's Verdict pretty quickly. Unfortunate. Pass turn. So he is Rakdos, which is black, red. Sure. I'm gonna go get a swamp so we can guarantee the double swamp for Shadow's Verdict. I'm gonna ramp instead of killing one of these, so let's play Wolf Willow. can play Wolf Willow again. So now next turn we'll be able to Shadow's Verdict, and hopefully he commits more creatures to the board. We'll be able to get a really nice board wipe. Unfortunately, I won't hit that. But we can brick wall it with Elder Gargaroth after. So yeah, I'm gonna 2-for-1 him here. So we have 6 mana. And he can sacrifice another creature to give this indestructible. So that's Shadow's Verdict. It's not gonna hit this, but he's gonna sack one of these here. Just gonna pass turn now. So the plan right now is to brick wall here. If he doesn't play another creature, we can kill it with... Actually, we can't kill it with Heartless Act. It has a counter on it. So Elder Gargaroth is our plan. Hopefully we can draw an Extinction Event. That'd be the perfect card to draw right now. Eliminate will not do it, so let's play the Gargaroth. This big beefy boy's got reach, so it can block flying. Alright, he's pumping up his Crawling Barons, which is pretty unfortunate. We're gonna get really low here, and this is gonna be really tight. I will gladly trade. Actually, I can't trade now, but we can't take 6 damage. He's gonna sacrifice his land to give it indestructible, but at least he loses his Barons. Should I draw a card or make a beast? I'm gonna draw a card because we're looking for Extinction Events. Double Heartless Act will do it. He doesn't have another creature to sacrifice, so now what we can do is remove 3 counters. And then we can Heartless Act again. Good stuff. So we have 4, 5, 6 mana. I'm gonna play the Pelukernos. Another one of these, that's a problem. I'm gonna Omen of the Sea to see if we can find an Extinction Event. It would wipe us both out, but I can't have this on the board. I don't have a way to block it or kill it right now. No, no. unfortunate. Wait, we can fight it. We can fight it. We can totally fight it. He's gonna sacrifice it to village rights and draw 2 cards. That's fine. Totally forgot that he's got the fight ability. This card's really powerful. That's fine. Hit him for 1. We can actually bounce it with our Yorion next turn. That'll be pretty strong. So we're just gonna pass turn. When we bounce this back, it's gonna enter the battlefield again with 6 counters on it. So it's just gonna negate all the damage he just did to it, essentially. And if he kills it now, we have another one in hand. It looks like we can counter it, but he has the 3 mana up, so it's not gonna work. Oh, he's going right for our face. We can counter this though. He's only got 2 mana up. Ultimatum, perfect. That's we're doing it. It's a namesake of the deck. I'm gonna grab the Epiphany. I don't even love Valky right here. I think I'd rather get Professor Onyx and the Vorinclex. So he has to choose 1 to put back, and we're gonna get the other 2 for free. It just puts him in a position where no matter what he picks, it's pretty much game over, yeah. So Rakdos, I like potentially the Cling to Dusts. You could have like the Ox or Phoenix of Ash or something like that. And it's going to compete for things for this to eat. So I like bringing in the Cling to Dust. Eliminate could be good, but we kind of want to exile his threats and stuff. I still think Eliminate will be good enough. On the draw, we can cut 2 Wolf Willow. I'm going to cut the Disputes and run it like that. This hand is good. We're on the draw. We have all the colors that we need. We have the Extinction event. We have our namesake card and a Gargaroth. I'm down. Dress. So he's most likely going to take the event. We're really far off from the ultimatum, and he just took the ultimatum. Okay. That's fine. We do have 3 more. And we have a pretty nice win condition in our hand, and we just drew another ultimatum. So here it makes sense to play the Fabled Passage because it's going to probably come into play tapped, so we might as well get this out of the way now. Let me get a forest. Play forest, and then I'm going to pay the companion cost thing for this. Get it into our hand. Strider, I'm not worried about that. I'm binding it. It'll help us ramp into our ultimatum quicker. Rankle? Sure. And this is why I consider this deck the best deck, because there's just nothing he can play that's like scary. We're just gonna be able to kill it. We gotta discard a card. I'm gonna just ditch one of these, I guess. There's a Wolf Willow. There I grab the red source, so if we draw the Valky. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. So I'm just gonna kill it with the extinction event. And then play a tap land. Vorinclex is fine to have in hand here, because we'll be able to cast it. We gotta discard a card. At this point I'm gonna get rid of the Wolf Willow. It's pretty late for that. We're gonna be casting big stuff from now on. Another Woe Strider, sure. We can play Yorion and just bounce Binding. Actually we won't be able to, it's gonna disappear right now. Never mind. So we can just ultimatum. Yeah. Grab Alrund's Epiphany. I'll grab Valky. And Professor Onyx. This card is just bonkers. If you can't counter it, you just lose the game. So we get to take another turn, which is awesome. And cast Tibolts. Yeah. Awesome, so we're Platinum Tier 2 now, which is great. And for my people watching on YouTube, if you enjoy the content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you know when I upload new videos. If you want to see me play a specific deck or explain a certain deck, let me know in the comments. I have most things to make whatever. Let's see what we open in our pack. I still am looking for a couple things from the new set. We got a rare wild card, it's always welcome. And a Tezzeret's Gambit. Pretty cool. I like the art a lot. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.